With the most recent update to Grounded, called Make It and Break It, they have brought all sorts of changes and optimization to the game of Grounded. Not only do they come through and give us a brand new feature called the Playgrounds, where you can go and build your own custom maps and games within Grounded and then publish them out for all your friends to play, but they also went through and did all sorts of changes for survival mode as well, from new quest systems to upgrading and changing some of the combat systems in the game to changes with smoothies. There's been all sorts of adjustments that have been made to the game of Grounded. So I thought, why not kick it off today's video with going through and reading through all the patch notes for update 1.3 or the Make It and Break It update. So here we go. This was posted out by Eric yesterday, just right when it was launched at 5 p.m. yesterday. So I thought I'd read through this for you guys now. All right, so the first thing is Playgrounds. I already talked about this a little bit. It is a new game mode that allows you to create, share, and play new Grounded experiences using a suite of tools built directly into the game, so you could populate your very own backyard with all sorts of items from all the different things you see throughout the backyard, from grass to the baseball that you see. You can literally put down that computer that's over in the junkyard. You can put down a giant spade shovel if you want to. There's all sorts of different things that you can put down and design your own backyard. So what is Playground powered by? And what their core elements are, more or less, is design mode, where you go through and you actually build and create your own world. Then play mode is allowing you to go through and test what you are building to make sure your thoughts are coming to reality and you're able to actually play the way you want it to be played. Then you publish it out. You get yourself a code that you can share with your friends and or with the Grounded community. You can go onto their Discord and share it there, and then others will come in and play your map. And you can see how popular your map is because you can also see how many times your map has been downloaded by the community to be played. So that's a fun little thing that they have. So let's go through and let's jump a little bit more into this slightly. So design mode here, you have over 300 objects that are used in the backyard: baseballs, army men, juice boxes, and more. 400 items like equipment, resources, and consumables. 100 harvestables like your acorns, pebblets, berries, your pine cones, things like that. And then over 400 buildings that you already know and love. And yes, all creatures can be spawned in. And yes, even the bosses, including the assistant manager, the Mant, and director Schmector, can all be spawned in. All right, free placement and rotate freely. This allows you to rotate and place items anywhere within the yard. Now, there is the new grass area map that they have, or you can choose to make your custom game in the actual map of Grounded. It's up to you on how you want this to actually go. But they can be rotated around. They have 360 degrees of rotation in the X, Y, and Z axis, so it's up to you on how you want to rotate things around. They give you complete freedom to place them however you want. There's all sorts of gizmos and gadgets that were added as well. These are logical items that you can put into the game that will cause different interactions that will happen throughout your map that you're making. Whether it's buttons, switches, levers, pulleys, timers, transmitters, receivers, pressure plates, the list goes on and on of all different items that you can go through and put in. If you guys want an idea of how to use some of these, I did make a video. It's out already for you guys. It's my basics tip video for you guys if you guys want to know how to use some of these buttons and switches to your uses in your own map that you're looking to build. With that, we also got some brand new gadgets as well. Gadgets are things that you can actually interact with inside of the map that the player will actually see and will be able to interact with. Whether it's the telepotty, yes, an actual teleporter has been added to Grounded, a fan, the super bounce pad, which by the way, if you go in and crank that thing to 100, it really does launch you. A laser cannon, the laser pillar, the shock pillar, the laser pillar and the shock pillar and the laser cannons, those you guys will see from other boss battles that happen within the backyard. Then there's also a power up, which allows you to give yourself some buffs when you're running around the yard, whether it's moving faster, hitting harder, having more defense, healing your character, poisoning your character, all sorts of things like that. And then also a scoreboard. There's a scoreboard as well that allows you to keep track of not only when you're making like baskets with your basketball, because yes, they added a basketball, more on that in a moment, or you can use it to even become like a timer and things like that. Really, the sky is the limit. All right, so then we have gameplay gizmos. What that means is things that are actually going to edit the game itself, whether it's time of day, making some noise, making some new music, spawning effects. Go check out the question mark one. That one's pretty cool. Equipping the items onto your characters, or spawning in the player in a different area, or filling up their inventory with a bunch of useless items if you so choose to do that, or with a bunch of helpful things. It's completely up to you, but that is another one of the things you can put into the backyard now, is these new gizmos. And then finally, we have logic gizmos. These are counters with conditions, switch gates, and switch gizmos. These are the actual like logical do this, then this, or this and that. If you're into programming or you know anything about programming, these will make a lot of sense to you when you go in and work with it. If you've never done anything with programming, I suggest you guys go out and practice with these and figure out how to use them, or check out a video and see how to work those as well. Okay, so trigger events and actions. You can do all sorts of things, from putting down buttons, placing timers, doing all sorts of things by putting down a trigger volume, making it so when a character walks into something, spawning a creature. These are examples of things that you can do. And as a last little note, right down here, guys, there is an addition to designing playgrounds by yourself in single player, or you can also design in multiplayer and utilize shared worlds with this new feature. So if you want to design an entire new game with your buddies, you can do that as well. It is not only single player. Okay, so like I was saying earlier, there is a new map called the Grass Box. The Grass Box is about a third the size of the actual backyard, okay? And it comes fairly empty, okay? There's a couple different places, like a small body of water, a empty lab that you can use, an empty anthill, and a bunch of open areas. There's even like an upper and lower area. There's no large oak tree back there anymore. There's no pond or anything like that. But it is a large open area that's only populated by mostly grass and a couple weeds that you can go through and build your own custom games. It's a blank canvas yard for you to design any way you see fit. But like I said, if you don't want to use this blank canvas, if you're comfortable with the original grounded map and you want to make your custom game there, by darn it, you can definitely do that. Okay, so there's some additional new features here. So new custom game options. You have all sorts of new options here. You can make it so building is enabled, whether or not the player can build or relocate buildings. Meaning if you want to make it so your player just cannot build and they have to use whatever they find in the backyard, and too bad you can't build anything, that's how you do it. Or if you want to go even worse and make it so they can't craft anything, meaning, hey, you better be really good at finding rotten weapons and hope they don't break by the time you win, well, that's another thing. Or you're going to be stuck throwing pebblets at everybody. Time of speed, you can literally turn up or down how fast the day progresses. So if you turn it down to like 0 or 0.25, it's going to go very, very slow if not stopped. Or you could crank it all the way to ×4 and you will fly through days like it's nothing. You could turn up or down your thirst burn rate, your hunger burn rate, your respawn rate, your creature health scaling. What that means is making it so your enemies have more health. So say you're like, well, it's too easy to kill Black Ox beetles now because I've gotten so used to fighting them, I can perfect block them every time, and it's too easy now. You can literally crank their health to be 500% more, so you can sit there and fight. It's like fighting 5 Black Ox beetles worth of health bar at once. Could you imagine fighting something like the infected broodmother or the mantis with a 5 times the amount of health? Imagine how difficult that would be. You'd need like 5 shields in order to make it through one of those fights. But anyway, you can also adjust your fall damage. You can make it so if you jump and you land on the ground, you will die, or you can make it so you can jump off the top of the yard and land down. You could jump off the top of the oak tree and go all the way down to the ground, take absolutely no fall damage, if that so be what you want to do. So there's all sorts of new features that you can do within your custom games. On top of that, there's all of the custom games have been grouped under a subcategory for better navigation for clients and will be notified whenever the host changes a custom game option during gameplay. So in other words, if you're sitting there playing and one of your friends wants to be funny and change something, like all of a sudden your thirst burn rate goes to 500%, now you're going to be notified that it's being changed. Okay, so now, there's Payback Attacks. Payback Attacks are defending attacks from faction reactivity, aka when your base gets raided, you now will get raw science when you beat it. If you beat it, not when, if you beat it. If you beat it and you don't end up losing a bunch of your base, you'll be rewarded raw science for each creature defeated. So in other words, the more you defeat, the more raw science you're going to get. So stronger factions reward more raw science per kill. That means if you go through and you fend off a bunch of hornets, guess what? Now you just made a whole bunch of raw science. There's also, now hear me out on this one. This one's important, a brand new Burgle quest system. They revamped and randomized daily and repeatable Burgle quests by introducing a series of apprentice quests. And you start with these apprentice quests that unlock sequentially, aka you slowly work your way through these quests. After you complete those, you'll start going on and you'll start going into all sorts of other quests. But the most challenging quests are not that easy, guys. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be something like go kill the infected broodmother, or go kill the hornet queen, or some of the wasp queen. I prefer saying hornet. But anyway, there's all sorts of quests. There's actually 99 quests, and that's not counting after you complete the first 20 quests. You unlock a random daily quest that will be different and comes from a completely different set of quests than the 99 quests that you have, so you will constantly have additional quests, and all of them progressively give you more and more raw science per quest that you beat. So keep that in mind when running around the backyard. There's a brand new quest system for you guys. Okay, quality of life features, things that changed around a little bit. First of all, map improvements. All of your collected items, from milk molars to scabbies to different locations that you find, all of your collectibles will now be marked on the map, and you can go through and reference other maps that are online that you can use to locate all of the different milk molars. For those of you who are completionists and are looking for that last milk molar and you just can't find it, this is going to make it easy for you to do that. Naming zip lines. You can now name your zip lines. Same as you can name your flags, you can now name your zip lines. So that way you know, okay, this one's going to bring me over here. This one's going to bring me over there. Drop, transfer, and trash amount. When doing a drop, transfer, and or trashing actions on items, you can now specify the numbers you'd like to affect. More or less, if you want to drop 5 or you want to drop 500, you can specify the number that you want to drop now. Anywhere in between 0 and however many, you can now specify that amount you'd like to drop. There's also a mixer preview. What I mean by that is when you walk up to a mixer, on the left hand of your screen there'll be a small box that's going to pop up. That's not only going to tell you the amount of raw science you're going to get from it, but it's also going to tell you the enemies that are going to attack you as well, allowing yourself to prepare better for these mixers. Okay, so it's cool. It's a pretty cool UI. It's small, but it's there and it's pretty cool. There's also place many improvements for many roofs, many stairs, awnings, things like that can now be placed with place many, like you could with the floors or the walls. You can now do that with roofs and stairs and awnings and all those other cool things. Spiral staircase, alternate correctly when using place many downwards, not up, down. Okay? And buildings being placed using place many will be shown even if they are unsupported. So keep that in mind. If you're going to do place many and things are unsupported, it may fall. Basketball improvements. There's new basketball. There's 2 actually basketballs that you can craft now that you can make in the backyard for you to use. I think one's made of pupil leather and the other one is made with berry leather. You can go through and make both of those. And there's new dribbling and shooting animations, a new shooting mechanic that adjusts your shot distance based on how long you're holding down the button. The basketball hoop is now reactive to physics and has new audio, and making basketball shots can use to trigger events in playgrounds, aka so you can make it so, okay, I made a basket, now I get to open that door. Okay, stuff like that. There is new improved stickied quest objectives on your HUD now cycle between the different types instead of showing a wall of quest objectives in extreme cases. And then the first person handy nat, you can now go into handy nat and go into first person. You no longer only are stuck in third person as the handy nat. For all of you who like to build in first person or who like to play this game at all in first person, you now can do that with the handy nat. All right, there is some new content here, guys. There's some new items that were added. The berry basketball and the pupa basketball, we talked about that. There's 3 new early game trinkets that were added for various playstyle. Each new trinket corresponds to a classic RPG role, so whether you fancy yourself a tank or an archer, you'll find a trinket tailored to your playstyle. There's some new buildings. The Gnat Lamp, the Pupa Leather Ottoman, a target, a standing target, target dummy, 2 Broodmother decor buildings, 2 Mantis decor buildings, and 2 Wasp Queen decor buildings. If you guys want to see what those are, go check out the latest video that I made. I made a furniture video for you guys that goes through and brings a breakdown of all these items that were added. Now, there's over 40 half and quarter wall, floor, and stair pieces. We finally have those vertical half walls and vertical quarter walls that everybody's been asking for. We can now make small buildings. You can now make large buildings. This is really going to make it so you can customize all sorts of your bases into all sorts of new ways with all of these different things. From 6 vertical half walls, 2 half awnings, 2 half foundations, 10 half stairs, 3 half floors, 4 quarter walls, 4 quarter triangle walls, 3 quarter floors, 3 quarter roof pieces, 3 quarter flat roof pieces, and 3 quarter foundations. All of those things were added in. We got some new mutations. The new mutation is called Battle Buddies. It reduces friendly fire damage dealt and received as you level this up. So if you guys are playing multiplayer, you want to make it so you don't kill your friends every time you hit them, there you go. Now you can do that. Or if you guys want to make yourself a little PvP map, put this on so that way your friends have to fight even longer and don't kill each other with 3 hot hits on a tier 3 weapon. Guess who can do that now? You can. Anyway, there's also some new signs added. The new signs to the Forgotten Burgle chip found in the Brownie Boy bin added a new sign that automatically unlocks after a certain point in the story. The sign is the grand prize winner from the Grounded Sign Art Contest. So you guys can go check that one out for yourself. Now, from here on out, guys, we're going to start getting into other changes and tuning that happened to the game. This is going to be all of those different things that got changed in the game that are going to change your gameplay. So if you guys don't want to check that out, thank you so much for watching. But if you guys are, here we go. We're going to start going through this. All right. Medium mode. Reduce all enemy damage by 10%. Pets Invincible is now enabled by default. Low mode. Player damage buffed from 75% to 80%. Building health buffed from 50 to 100%. Item durability buffed from 75 to 100%. Durability penalty on death from 10 to 30%. Creature health increased from 100% to 120. Time of day speed decreased from 100 to 80%. Fall damage multiplier increased from 100 to 120. Death behavior changed to drop all items on death. So no longer keeping any items in your inventory. Not your weapons, not your anything, you drop everything. Okay, creative mode. Creative with bugs and creative with no bugs have the following options enabled by default. Unlock all mutations, fully yoked, and pets invincible. Consumables. Some consumables now have a 4-second cooldown before they can be used again. Bandages, smoothies, and meals all respect this new cooldown. So keep that in mind if you are going to make smoothies. You can no longer just sit there and spam your smoothie button. Okay, you need to actually wait the 4-second cooldown. Snacks and all other miscellaneous consumables ignore this new cooldown, aka those granola bars are even more effective. Doubling the effect of all healing items. So your smoothies, you may have to wait longer, but they now double the amount of healing they give you. Bandages now provide a burst heal when used in addition to their heal over time. Bandages heal over time per tick is tripled. Bandages heal over time duration is reduced. And the Cascadia, Antlion, and Amalant Thorns damage has been doubled. So, a little boost for you there. Smoothie changes. This is a big one here, guys. The default smoothie has been changed to help better communicate its purpose as a basic healing potion. Questionable slop is no longer craftable. Unlocking the smoothie station will unlock the Soothing Syrup smoothie. Soothing Syrup provides a basic heal and is cheap to craft. All smoothies have their healing amounts doubled. Smoothies respect the new 4-second consumable cooldown. Dandelion Tufts. Guess what, guys? Dandelions no longer need to be equipped. The players no longer have to decide between equipping a tuft or a trinket. Instead, tufts are a single-use item with no durability. To balance this change, tufts can be stacked, and dandelions yield more tufts when chopped down. So aka you can hold 99 dandelion tufts in your inventory and then jump off a building 99 times. That being said, the fluffy dandelion tuft trinket is now unlimited uses, enhancing its value and making it more of an interesting accessory choice. So if you go ahead and put that on as your accessory, it will take the spot of your trinket, but you will no longer have to replace your 10 dandelion tufts anymore. Combat system overhauls. Combo damage of weapon changed from 50, 100, 150 to 100, 100, 125. First and second hit combos now deal the same amounts of damage. The third hit now is 25% more damage compared to the other hits in the combo. All weapon damage adjusted with this change. Charge attack increased for almost every weapon. Players now have a default chance to crit without any crit chance boosting effects. Most Thorns effects have been increased substantially. Increased base damage of all turret ammo types, making those turrets actually worth something. Two-handed swords and two-handed axes have new attack animations after slightly faster timing than before, and the two-handed club animations are slightly sped up and updated, and the first-person camera movement on them has been heavily reduced. Movement changes. On the gamepad, players sprint by default. Pushing the sprint will toggle a key you into walk mode. This can be changed in the options with the new sprint mode option. Keyboard and mouse players will still default to hold sprint to run, but can also change new toggle modes in the options. Animations. Two-handed swords and axes come with slightly faster attack animations. Two-handed clubs have faster animations now. Third-person throwing animations have been updated. Third-person dialogue crouch walking animations have been added. Stagger animations for ladybugs and larvae have been updated. They will no longer move back to their original position after being staggered. Sit on the broodmother throne as if you were designated to wear the jeweled crown of the Enkinola, I don't know, upon the troubled brow. I don't know what that means at all, but in other words, there's a brand new animation for sitting on the broodmother throne, guys. All right, some creature changes for you guys. The Black Widow changes. Resistant to spicy, mint, and salty. Weak to sour now. Neutral to all other damage types. No longer immune to poison damage. Now has 2 new attacks in its arsenal. Can shoot a ranged web at the player, which spawns a Black Widowling. And can consume a living Black Widowling to heal and temporarily increase its attack speed. So, Black Widow's got even harder, guys. Wave creatures take even more damage from turret attacks. Larva stagger animations have been updated. Ruz T flat damage reduced. Ruz T's now have a slashing damage weakness. And stun cooldown on most non-boss creatures has been reduced. Action attacks. This is when when the bugs actually attack you after you have irritated them enough they come to attack your base. Anger thresholds for certain factions to send a base wave has been adjusted. Wave cooldown and spawn variance has been adjusted. Number of creatures that can be active in a wave during multiplayer games has been increased. Spawn weights for various creatures has been adjusted. Spawn weight thresholds for wave defense difficulty brackets has been adjusted. Total number of creatures that can spawn in each difficulty bracket has been adjusted. Total maximum number of creatures that can be active in a wave has been adjusted. Termite kings can now spawn in termite faction raids. Additional faction waves are now able to be angered via the waft emitter, stink bugs, roly-polies, ladybugs, ominent moths, and black widows. Bosses. Infected broodmother drop rates improved. That's good, because fighting the infected broodmother sucks, so when you do have to fight that and you want a lot of stuff, now it's going to give you a lot of stuff. Mutations. Sour Sensation Thorns damage increased 6-fold, substantially increasing stamina restored by Parry Master. Spore Lord quintupled the chance for the damage up effect to proc, doubled the chance of heal over time and speed up effect to proc, added stack caps of 50 to all buffs provided by Spore Lord. Apex Predator effect added for Blaster for the Moldy Matriarch. Sharpshooter now increases crit chance with bows and crossbows instead of reducing sprint stamina. Chopper defense down proc duration reduced. And Javelineer Thorns damage doubled. A few changes in the world, guys. A pre-cracked Milk Molar in the Hedge Lab has been added to help players get the first Milk Molar early in game. The Milk Molar is in the Minotaur Maze chest has been removed to compensate for this new Milk Molar. Dandelions now drop triple the tufts. Acorns are now generated to drop their tops, are guaranteed to drop their tops, sorry. Small feather nodes are guaranteed to drop at least 2 feather resources. Mixers and super mixers now reward more science on completion. Improved hedge ascent. Our goal is to smooth out the difficulty curve in this area. A new quest objective has been added to the hedge lab quest at a point in the area where you're able to enter the hedge. Spiderlings spawn in the hedge ascent, moved off the branches and into the various lab outposts. Remove one of the 2 Ruz Tees from the resource surveyor outpost in the hedge. Added hedge trimmers and additional lights in the lower hedge to improve visibility and navigation. Added a bed in the first outpost lab. Added and changed branches to help navigation in the area before the hedge lab. The small pond lab outpost will now be locked by default when exploring the pond. The doors will now open automatically at a later point as a result of progressing through the main pond lab. The doors further inside the smaller outpost will remain locked behind the assistant manager key. The loot found in the initial explorable area in the outpost has been improved. Redactive can now be peeked. Added redacted to redacted for redacted. So, a little spoiler for you guys, only going to do one. This one you guys are going to have to figure out yourself. But this one, you can now peep the koi fish. Armor and weapons. For those of you who are wondering what happened to your armor and weapons, elemental upgrade paths now provide the same amount of damage boost as the mighty path. Black Ant armor set bonus increased pincoition damage has been doubled. Prod Smacker damage increase. Pinch Whacker triggers its lightning AoE on its combo finisher instead of having a chance to trigger every hit. Unique elemental melee weapons have a proc effect on their combo finisher, unlocking and getting it to +6. Mint Mace, area of effect mint attack. Coltana, increased parry window buff. If an attack is parried while the buff is active, your next attack gains a significant damage increase. Sour Battle Axe increases overall attack speed. And Salty Morningstar applies a bleed to the target, making that Salty Morningstar even better. The Mother Demon and Moldy Matriarch armor sets increased damage reduction, increased durability, and now considered heavy armor instead of medium armor. Moldy Matriarch armor set dynamically. Wow, that's a difficult word. Proc chance doubled, and the explosive resist down debuff duration is halved. Explosive stun has been replaced with a big boom. Explosive attacks have a chance to provide a stacking crit damage buff. And some shield changes. Tier 3 shields now provide even more block strength. But keep this in mind, having a shield equipped now lowers the damage you deal. So if you're going to use a shield, you're going to hit for less damage. Keep that in mind when attacking or when building your armor sets. Acorn armor set ingredients change to require the player to venture into other tier 1 biomes. Grub armor status effect change now increases damage dealt to tier 1 creatures. Clover armor status effect change now increases defense against tier 1 creatures. Clover armor set bonus change to trickle regen. Mosquito Needle and Tiger Mosquito Rapier can now be used underwater. Spider Fang Dagger and Widow Fang Dagger can now poison enemies underwater. Rusty Spear now applies infection to enemies underwater. Black Widow armor set bonus death impetus effect changed. Old movement speed increase on kill. New trickle regen plus attack speed increased on kill. That Black Widow armor just got even better. Black Widow armor status effect values normalized so they'll all equal instead of being different per piece. Aphid Slippers sleek effect change sprint stamina to Aphid Kid. All club weapons now attack 15% faster. Widow Dagger now applies venom instead of poison. Added new animations for two-handed weapon sword attacks, increased their speed by about 20%, and dropped weapons and equipment in the yard will no longer despawn over time. Let's talk about some items. Ammo base stack size increased. Plank and log clusters can now despawn after some time, like loose planks and logs do. Crafted equipment and tools will no longer despawn when left in the world for a while. Wasp Queen Trinket, Arrow refund chance increased. Fancy Fletching now speeds up exhaustion recovery even more. Broodmother and Infected Broodmother Trinkets now double the damage dealt by the player summoned on top of their own effects. Mantis Trinket effect change. Combo finishers grant a stacking crit chance buff until you crit. Most Omnit Employee Badge trinkets have their numbers increased by either positive or negative effects. Going through these all these below. Biomedical badge. Heal over time, tripled. Food drain, tripled. Entomologist badge. Attack up effect increased. Defense badge. damage resist up increased, attack down effect increased, intern badge, hauling amount increased, movement speed, slow down increased, compliance badge, damage resist reduction increased, health and safety badge, lifesteal percentage increased, damage over time changed to damage resist reduction, same as the compliance badge, doubled proc chance of rotten berry charm, and speed droplet no longer reduces sprint stamina. Crafting. Lint rope can now be crafted a 1-to-1 ratio at the spinning wheel. Whetstone cost for mighty globs and jewels lowered, so making it less grindy. Building placement. Palisade gate can no longer be placed unsnapped and overlapped with other buildings. Wall-mounted buildings can no longer be placed on players' backpacks. It's now easier to control the depths of buildings that are placed partially in the ground. Buildings can be zooped further one at a time, but only along one single axis. UI. The map will now show an icon legend for the players who have hidden their map markers. The building facing arrow has received a glow up. Pets and summons and fellow teens will be prioritized lower than hostile creatures when it comes to what health bar is shown in the UI. The select a teen interface has had a makeover. Peeping an orc creature will now properly show sour as one of their weaknesses. Improve the enemy's health bar priority system so your pet or summon will no longer show instead of the enemy or boss health. The koi fish is now a creature card you can peep to unlock. Audio. The teens will chat less frequently about the bugs they are looking at. Accessibility. Colorblind modes have been adjusted to the game in addition to certain interface colors. Optimization. When a large number of buildings are collapsing, dropped items will be grouped together to improve performance. Clients loading into worlds with large bases will experience less lag and desyncing. Improve performances in the pond and stump labs. Improve performances around the barbecue area. Reduce CPU usage across the game. Reduce GPU usage across the game. Reduce memory usage across the game. Reduced autosave hitching. And reduce load save time. Okay, now we have bug fixes. We're almost there, guys, for those of you who watched all the way to the end. Crash fixes. Fix the random crash that could happen when processing physical collisions. Major fixes. You can now save and load again while playing with no internet connection. Other fixes. Gotta Peep them All achievement now unlocks the moment you peep your final creature as opposed to the next time you load your game after peeping all creatures. Achieving 100% of the report card properly checks for gold creature cards, aka they need to get all golds now in order to get 100%. Fix some cases where buildings can be built into configurations that would cause a collapse without any error messages. Half-corner stairs can now be replaced by other types of half-corner stairs when standing alone. Hit droplets from dew collectors will now fall off the clients. Floors can no longer be placed directly into unsupported configurations in some cases while using Place Many. Fix the floor building placed using Place Many sometimes not being placed when Place Many was started in an unsupported position. Blaster of Moldy Matriarch now has a HUD marker when dropped. Rough Reload now properly delays stamina regen. Corrosion status effect now proper tags. Some have no change as the effect of itself. Sickly Roly Poly now displays a weakness information. Redacted Gong can now be repaired. While rested, buffs can now have many stack size up to 1 to prevent them from stacking in rare cases. ORC creatures now properly inherit the weakness of their base creatures in addition to being weak to sour instead of only being weak to sour. Lifesteal provided by Mosquito Rapier and Tick now only applies to attacks made by those specific weapons. Chopper defense down proc in icon change to red to reflect its debuff. Infinite spawning boss ads no longer give out gold cards, so you can't just go there and sit there and infinitely attack the Wasp Queen and sit there and grind out till you have the gold card. Characters will no longer make backpack comments about certain other types of containers. The Join Game browser now has a better layout in Arabic. You can no longer place sap catchers on trash cans. Teens no longer break their ankles walking on stem floors. And fix the game getting locked to 60 FPS when closing the game options window in a certain way. Guys, that is everything that they have changed so far in the Make It and Break It update. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of additions, a lot of alterations to make the game the best that they possibly can. So thank you everybody so much for watching this one. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Don't forget to leave me a comment down below of the thing that you are the most and least excited about with this update. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.